Hello, my beautiful, beautiful people, and thank you so much for tuning in today's video. I want to give a huge, huge celebrational announcement. I am officially, legally divorced. Everything is gone, so let's get into it. If you are new here, my name is Jasmine. Thank you so much for tuning into my channel. I make videos every single Thursday at 2 p.m. So make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, and let's get started on today's video. I really want to get into divorce, the lessons that it taught me, the emotional impact, and just pretty much moving forward and what my life looks like now. So a little bit of the backstory: me and my ex-husband separated the end of March last year, and we had a house together, we have 2 kids together, and we had 2 dogs together. So on all in that being said, without getting too much detail, I want to say the end of April, we already decided to sell our house. There was going to be a waiting time just to get the kids settled, so that we don't spring everything upon them, so that it wouldn't be so hard on them. But I'm pretty glad and happy the way that it ended up panning out. We ended up selling the house probably around June, and thank gosh I was able to move in with my parents. They had extra space for me and my kids, and it has been a blessing. But I want to jump in first what emotional impact it had on my kids, and something that I never want to go through again with them. So at the time, my younger one was 4, about to turn 5, and my other one was 7, about to turn 8. So they were still really young. I just remember really trying to hold on to that relationship for the kids' sake. I didn't want my kids to grow up with divorced parents. Nobody does. So I really tried hard to keep that relationship strong and together for the sake of them. And looking back now, I'm glad I made the decision to move on from that relationship, and I'm glad that my kids are able to see me happy now, regardless of my relationship status. Back then, when I left their dad, I was more at peace, and my kids saw that. Obviously, there was some, growing pains when it comes to being the main parent and doing things on my own. But besides that, obviously, the time that we told the boys, that we will be separating, it was hard on them. That moment I will never erase from my mind. Basically, letting your kids down and letting them know that they will no longer have mom and dad in the same house. But I did my best to reassure them that we are still going to be, friends, and we're, still going to be a family, and I'm living up to that as much as possible. Obviously, it's not easy when it's a fresh separation and having to co-parent. I think that's the main thing. It had nothing to do with emotional side of it. It had nothing to do with feelings still be there. It had more to do trying to get accustomed to being parents separately, and also the house selling. So that was also a really big part of my life that was really hard on me, trying to get on the same page as him, and we were just doing a lot of back and forth. So once that house was sold, that was one burden off our backs. The kids were pretty well transitioned well. Like I said, we moved in with my parents, so that was definitely a blessing. My kids were around people who loved them and people who supported them, and obviously myself. So I definitely know that was something that was something that a lot of people don't have, and that I'm super grateful for, that my kids are surrounded with love and support. So I will say the only thing that I really worry about with my kids is just the instability when it comes to being at their dad's and being at home. I do my best to keep my kids on a schedule. I just do the best that I can as a mom, and I don't want to say he's not doing the best he can as a dad. I just think we have differences when it comes to raising them, or just priorities when it comes to raising them, and that's something that we're going to battle with the rest of our lives. And I think we've gotten to the point where we're we just don't want to fight anymore, and we just really want to come to each other with concerns. So I'm hoping going forward that that's all it is. It's hey, I have a concern on X, Y, and Z. How can we work on it together? And let's hope for the best there. So I wanted to share my journey with you guys, because I know there's other women out there, there's other men out there, there's everybody out there that deals with divorce, and I want to tell you, and we all know we're not alone. There's people going through worse things, but divorce is really hard on a person. You feel like you're letting yourself down. You feel like you're letting your family down. You feel like you're letting your kids down if you have kids. You're just letting everybody down. And I did deal with that guilt for a very long time. A very long time. I would just, have moments where I would just be sitting there thinking about it, and I'm like, wow, my whole world came crashing down because two people couldn't, see eye to eye or put 100% effort on both ends. I'm happy that I didn't stay in that relationship, because that was the only concern, is that I wanted to stay with that person for the kids. I was willing to do anything I could to make that relationship work. We went to therapy. I went through a lot of emotions my young 20 years. I suffered a lot of family death. I suffered a lot of anxiety, depression. Then I had my kids and I had postpartum depression. And not to say that that person wasn't like necessarily there for me to the best of their abilities, but after I overcame those things, not 100%, but at least overcame them to where I'm more like aware of my issues. I'm more aware of what I want in life, and I don't want to live this depressing life anymore, and I'm ready to just grow. That person wasn't ready to grow with me, and that's okay. And that's where people could walk away from each other and say, hey, we tried our best. So with the end of my divorce, we were nonstop fighting for about 1.5 to 2 years. So I already knew like this relationship was pretty much done. It was a lot of back and forth and keeping it to myself. Obviously, that's not something you want to tell your family. Thank God I had a really close best friend that I was able to vent and talk to her, and she knew when things were wrong. So I'm really super grateful for her in those moments that I needed somebody. But yeah, everything was crashing down, and we were at our last few months, and we were just like, we can't do it anymore after therapy sessions. And also I miss my dog. Anytime I talk about him, I will cry. So we had 2 dogs, and we had a boy wow. We had a boy dog and a girl dog. And I have the girl dog. She's my dog. Me and my boy dog had a really I know it sounds weird and you guys are probably gonna think I'm crazy. I felt like he was my spirit angel, because anytime I would cry, in those moments where I was going through, those thoughts of wanting to not be here and crying, every time I was crying, he would lay his head on me and be right by my side. Oh my God. I think that's one of the other things, aside from letting my kids down, is losing my dog. I don't see him anymore. It's rare that I'll see him when I pick up the boys from their dad's house, because that's rare that it happens. I usually only pick him up from school. So I haven't seen him consistently for a year. I've probably only seen him 3 times, and I miss him. I miss him a lot. And yeah. Okay, I kind of pulled myself together for you guys here. I want to talk about the lessons that I've learned in relationships and what I really wanted in life. So anytime you get out of a relationship, whether it's 10-year relationship, marriage, a 2-week relationship, anything, those relationships and those people that you meet are always supposed to teach you something in your life. So that's why I didn't hold like a really big like sadness or grudge towards this situation, because I know, and I'm so like in tune with like things are supposed to happen and it's all gonna get better, and this person was with you for a reason in your life. So I just know that that person taught me a lot about myself, and that relationship taught me a lot about myself, and I would never be the person that I am now if I was not in that relationship. And I'm not giving the credit to that person, but just overall the whole relationship and the whole time that I was with this person for 10 years, I definitely learned a lot. I'm definitely grateful for the lessons that it taught me. And once I left that person and I was going out, doing things on my own, hanging out with my friends, trying to deal with things on my own as a mom, like I was able to like really refocus on what person I want in my life. Like, I want somebody who's super affectionate. I want somebody who's emotionally intelligent. I want somebody who, you know, really values family. Those are things that I didn't pay attention to when we first got together, or when I first got with any partner. So I know now that that's exactly what I wanted. And obviously the list goes on. So I was able to hold those standards up for myself. I'm not gonna say that I didn't date someone who was exactly like them right before I met my current boyfriend, but I feel like that was more of a wake-up call. It was like, why are you jumping into this other like situationship with a person who is exactly like the person you just left? So I definitely think like little life lessons were like just trying to wake me up. So I'm just super grateful for like realizing that and not getting stuck in that same situation. But yeah, I mean, being single was amazing. It was really a chance to find myself, you know, regain focus. And I, you know, woke up January 2025, like, it's gonna be my year. I'm gonna be single, da da da. 4 days later, I meet the man of my dreams. So let's hop into that subject. So after you leave your long-term relationship, you feel like you add no value to anybody, especially as a mother. You probably feel like, or a single parent in general, you probably feel like you are never going to find somebody who wants kids, right? Who wants kids from somebody else. And you're wrong. I'm going to tell you that you're wrong, and tell you that there is someone there out there for you. I remember going to my friend's vision board party and making all these little pictures of my vision. I'm going to be, you know, opening my studio, getting a new car, like getting myself in the gym, being healthy, all these things, right? And I'm checking them off the list when I'm making the little board. And I was like, you know what? I don't want to add that I want a partner, right? I don't want to put that out there because I'm not ready. I'm not ready, right? And I didn't think that any of that was gonna happen. But in the back of my mind, I remember talking to like the girls at the event, and I was like, you know what? I don't want a relationship, but it would be nice to, like, you know, see the world and travel the world and be with somebody, and not being hard, right? And just, if that time comes and that person comes, then great. So obviously in the back of my mind, I was thinking about having that person, but I didn't put it on the board because I didn't want to have my expectations so high on meeting someone and loving someone and being in a great relationship. And what do you know? 4 days later, after January 1st, on January 5th, I met my current boyfriend, and he is everything, not one thing missing that I wanted in a man. And I just want to leave that at where it is, because I want to leave this video with words of encouragement. One thing that I prioritized before I got into a new relationship, without even making it hard, was to love yourself. Find things that make you happy and do it. Take care of your mind, take care of your body, take care of your soul, and then just really sit and think about what you want in life, who you want in your life, and just move with that. And I know it's not that easy, and it wasn't that easy for me because I went through a lot of bullshit aside before I met my man. But regardless, if when you get to that point, whether it's because of a new relationship or finally got to a point where you're extremely happy and it's on by yourself, you're gonna be okay. We're all gonna be okay. Not everything lasts forever, whether it's a relationship, whether it's a job, whether it's a friendship, it could be anything. Just know that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. I do want to leave this video on a last little note that I can talk about now. I'm officially divorced, obviously, and me and my boyfriend are trying to have a baby. So I'm going to continue to post my YouTube videos and keep you guys updated on that journey. So yeah, we'll talk about that on the next video, and I love you guys. Bye.